Hello all you lovely computer scientists. Today we're going to show off another method of managing your inputs and making them better for your program. We've already showed off verification and validation, which is the process of checking it and re-entering it until it's correct. But now we'll show off sanitation. Input sanitation is where you get your inputs and modify it until it matches the scope of your program. So for example, you might have them input a number, but you only need integers, not floats, so you might use math.floor or round function or math.trunc to change it into an integer rather than a float. Small things like that. You are nearly guaranteed to get inputs, and like I showed before, your input will always be variable input, and then we have a message, so we'll just put message. Now, there are many methods of making sure your input is correct for the program. We've already showed off verification, which is just checking it's right, validation, which is repeatedly inputting, but there is another one, there's a third one, sanitation. This is modifying input. So this might be, if it's a string, so it might be variable equals variable dot lower. Now you might use this for quiz programs, so if variable equals a, print correct. Because what this does is means you don't need to do if variable equals a or variable is equal to uppercase A. Instead, you just need to do one, so it makes the program more efficient. As the variable input is now properly made for our program, so message A, correct, and since it's sanitized to be lowercase, we can also put capital I. It isn't just with strings, it can be with numbers, so let's say we want an integer, right? But we still want people to be able to input floats, so we might do, well, standard verification too, if variable dot is numeric, variable, then we might do variable equals variable in the math.floor. So this will give us an integer no matter what the user inputs. We can input just make sure we print out there. The user could input 8.5 and still we have an integer. 0.5. Oh right, yeah, I forgot. Here's numeric only works for integers. Yeah, so say we want an integer, but we still want the user to be able to input other things. So 4.5, we get 4. But if we do 4, we still get 4. So that will always make an integer. There are other things that we could do to sanitize. If they're inputting a name, enter character, let's say, you might want to do it in .title. So the character's name is also sanitized, so obviously my character, Grog, capitalized. You can sanitize in hundreds of thousands of different ways. We've got, not millions, we've got hundreds of commands for this. .title, .remove, .replace, .lower, .upper, .hotcase, many. And most programs will end up needing to use sanitation at some point, especially programs which involve strings. With numbers it's a lot easier because you've got validation and verification checks for numbers much more easily, but for strings that could be anything. So yes, but sanitation, show it off. But here's one more thing with sanitation. Very rarely will you just have sanitation. You will also usually have validation with it. So a simple presence check. Simple presence check. Also, yes, this does work as a presence check because an empty string or empty list does also count as false. So enter message. If I enter nothing, it'll ask me to input. If I enter grog, it works. And then I can go through the sanitation. There you have it. And this shows off all three of the input managements. Verification with the while loop, as it verifies if it actually is present or not. Validation, as if it isn't present, it will constantly re-ask. And sanitation with the .title, as when you have it, it will adapt the variable to be usable in the scope of the program. And that's about it. Thank you. Thank you all very much for watching the video. I do hope you learned something, and I do hope you enjoyed. If you did, please like, comment and subscribe, but especially comment, because I love learning how you learn so I can make better videos for you, for me, and for everybody. And it's a large help overall. Thank you very much.